Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, hey, welcome everybody talking Niagara. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, all. I think Rick has put up several messages here. I don't know what that was in relation to. I was not in a hearing yesterday. I am in a hearing today. And in my brand new setup at work. So this is my office background. My call to the bar and my LLB picture and my certificates over there. All right. So just to say that to everybody. So I'm at work at the moment because I still didn't have a working computer last night. All right.
Well, yeah. So yeah. Well, things were funny here too. Like when I was trying to get on, it was like first of all, it told me that I had to have a password to get into chats, to messages.
Yeah, I had that as well before. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just restarted my computer, and then it gave me Peter and Eddie when we did. I don't know, a long time ago, we did an interview with Ed Jacoby and that was giving me that one. Instead of this one.
Yeah.
And anyway, something's wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody's heading Toronto bound this morning, Garden City Skyway about 6 o'clock this morning. As far as I can work out, there was an accident on the what do you call it? On the Toronto bound carriageway. All 3 lanes were closed when I went through there. So you're going through on the what do you call it? On the hard shoulder. All right. And it's a multi-car pileup. All right. So let's get that out of the way first of all. Okay. Welcome everybody. Okay. So what was first on my list here? Okay. So people rejected at the Canadian border are now being kind of thrown back into a horrible situation with ICE.
Yeah, basically this is a pretty old article because it's been up for a little while. But what's happened is we still have that. We had feared when Donald Trump got in office, where the Republicans got back in, there was going to be a huge tsunami of people coming to our borders. That didn't seem to happen though, because our border guards kept them out.
Yeah.
Because the rule is if you get into a safe country, that safe country is then the one you have to apply for refugee status. Well, a bunch of people are particularly Haitians and well, just about everybody, Pakistanis, whoever, feel that they're not going to get an honest look
what nation you're from,
refugee status. So they're trying to hit the Canadian border. However, what's happening at the Canadian border is actually doing their work, it seems. I mean, it was written like it should be sympathetic to these people, but on the other hand, it looks like the Canadian border is actually doing what they're supposed to do, review these cases.
Let's be honest about it. Let's be honest about it, Dave. The Canadian border has been kicked up their ass in the last, before Carney came in, the Canadian border people have been kicked up the ass several times. And Trudeau was forced to change policy, wasn't he?
Well, they did, but they did it kind of out of desperation.
I know.
They had a pretty meek situation there where, well, it's typical. They couldn't so much of their base, were so far left that they would have let the whole world move into Canada, kind of. And that's an exaggeration.
I know,
but
it's an exaggeration.
But you're right. They had to, once it was the Canadians were really angry at them for the bad policies on the border. Then they started tightening up, and of course, under Carney, it got even tighter. But one of the people you can thank for that is Poilievre. And I don't know what you think of Poilievre, or anyone out there thinks of Poilievre, but he pointed that over and over and over again, and the Liberals, in their sort of reincarnation under Carney, heard that and did what the conservatives would say they would have done, just like getting rid of the carbon tax, like the conservatives said they would that. So they moved very much into the middle. So but these people then are stuck in a quandary though. They go into the United States under a tourist or visitor visa, and then they see their chances aren't that good, so they try to break into Canada, try to get there. The problem is sometimes they may qualify as refugees or one way or another, but the rules are clear that the first country of entry is the one that has to regard your refugee status. This business of, I don't think I'm going to have too much of a chance in the U.S., so I'll run to Canada. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
And when you do come into Canada, your paperwork has to be good. And unfortunately, these people are being stuck now. They're being pushed off the border. It's bad for them to even try to come across the border, because as soon as they're turned back from the Canadian border, they go right into the hands of ICE. And they go for weeks at a time in ICE detention. The people that tried to cross the border here, I think it was at the Peace Bridge, or it might have been the Rainbow, they incarcerated them all the way to Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, and then of course everything has changed. You're right. They but the point being is that the ICE situation has caused them to flee in the first place, didn't it?
Well, no, they just thought their chances would be better up here, because they kind of got into the United States. Well, from what I read, they kind of got into the United States under false pretenses, tourist visas or something like that. And then of course they want to stay there, but they see what the situation is like under the Republicans right now. And that's one thing they have done very well, is stop illegal immigration. That's about the only positive thing I think they've done. I don't know. I don't like the way they've done it, but they have actually accomplished it. So a lot of the illegals, I don't like what ICE is doing, shooting people and so on, but and holding people that even or even Canadians down there go on a holiday, get grabbed and thrown into ICE, and they don't seem to have the ability to do a quick check on somebody's ID to make sure it's valid. Oh, you're a Canadian citizen here on visit. Okay. You've overstayed that visit, go home, that kind of thing. They put them in ICE and because they don't have the capability of looking at everybody's paperwork. Well, in this particular case, these people from Haiti, there's two families in this article, and they both, one from Pakistan and one from Haiti. Well, they try to get into the United States and then into Canada. I think once the World Cup comes, there's going to be a lot of people coming into the United States, and I bet you a handful of them will try to make the trip into Canada and claim refugee status. I don't know how many of the visitors, worldwide visitors we have come to Canada will try to do the same thing during the World Cup. It's a good way for the door to open up, and people can get in and then just kind of disappear in the ether and trying to figure out a way of claiming refugee status, which is no good, because there's people honestly waiting in line with their applications to come to Canada. And every time you take some of these people in that are really not legitimate refugees, political refugees, what happens is it sends a message out to the world. Look, you want to get into Canada, do it illegally. Don't bother waiting to do the application process, because that takes time. And I just showed you here how to get in. Go in and pretend you're a political refugee. We know most of the people that are coming here are economic refugees anyway. And I don't know. I'm reading this story, and it's basically like, I feel sorry for the people. They come, they try to get into Canada, and once they're turned back at the border, then they get absorbed by ICE, and nobody wants that to happen. So my advice to them is, if you're in the States, just shut up and stay there and try to sort of make your way until another administration comes in, and maybe you can apply for citizenship or refugee status or something else. But if you come to the border of Canada, if you turned away at the border, you're going to go straight into the hands of ICE.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you'll be able to avoid them.
Yeah, exactly. Because, and then of course you'll be back in, back wherever you come from. And the situation here is, of course, is that we've had our issues, of course, here in Canada with, you know, the whole question about legality, some of the bad, we've got a lot of people jumping the queue already. We've got problems here in Canada with our own system and, and everything, right? So, and I think we're trying to clean it up is what the story is right now, right?
Yeah, it got out of control under the, new age sensitive guy, the drama teacher there, who liked to say all things, oh, welcome to Canada, we love you. Yeah. And that really gave a bad message. You want to be understanding of people who are under political stress. Like in Haiti, it's a terrible place. Of course, you're going to have people running out of Haiti. It's a dangerous place. If you can get out of Haiti, you want to get out of Haiti. It's a dangerous place. Pakistan can be dangerous too. If you're a Shia Muslim in Pakistan, you could be under, like the Shia Muslims in Pakistan are under strain all the time. The Sufi Muslims in Pakistan are under stress all the time, but it's not necessarily from the government. It could be from under ISIS or the Taliban, the legitimate government quite often. But so there are times, of course, when you feel you're going to be a political refugee in Pakistan and in Haiti, it's just a disaster. The country is just a complete failure. So of course you're going to want to run out of there. But sometimes if you are in genuine danger, if you've crossed the gangs in Haiti, you want to run for it. If you're mixed up, I don't know, in the story here, the people from Pakistan, I don't know what their situation is, why they think they're political refugees.
Yeah, but again, there's a lot of people in Pakistan, places like Pakistan, a lot of people who are not fundamentalist Muslim, if you know what I mean, who will, whilst they're Muslim, they are
secular,
more moderate Muslims, secular Muslims. Yes, they believe in the secular way of life, and therefore the way that things are done in Pakistan is not the way that they want to do it.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll take any Pakistani that has a good education and can do a good job. Doctor, engineer, even bricklayer, whatever their skills are. Yeah, if we need bricklayers and they have one is in Pakistan, and we need doctors, Pakistan, it doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter, these are queue jumpers, and they have a story. But the thing is, no matter how sympathetic we are to all these different people that come to our border, we cannot save the world.
Yeah,
we cannot save the world by opening our borders.
Mike raises a good point here. Did you see the people from India arrested and smash and grabs at a jewelry store? Yeah, anybody who's arrested, who's a foreign person who's arrested for a crime, should really be the potential there for deportation.
First of all, they go to jail, though. You don't want to send them right back, because they'll just turn around and come back.
Send them to jail. Send them to jail, then deport them.
Right? Then deport them,
and make it clear to their country of origin that you are deporting them for that reason.
Well, they always do. So that they're a criminal. So, and there you have it. So you have this is the result of, quite often, new immigrants are the least criminal, no matter what everybody thinks. But because under Justin Trudeau, the government was too lax in their opening up of the borders, a lot of these people got in. They were more criminally intent. but the smash and grab jewel, that's kind of a thing that's happening all over this. It's being learned by people in the States that they've discovered if they swarm a place, smash and grab it like a jewelry store, and then run out of it, there's no way they could stop them, or most of them. And so that's becoming like what happened down here, didn't it? Happened in Niagara Falls, happened in St. Catharines, I think too, where they just kind of break in, grab, take as much of stuff as they can, and run away. That sort of technique was developed in the States.
Yeah, that's just criminal behavior, and whether you're an immigrant or a local, we don't do enough to catch the criminals, sadly. All right, moving on.
That's a very effective way. That's a very effective way of. It's just a new thing. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Frank DeLuca has given an update during the course of the weekend on a post on Facebook about the dump. I'll read this so one of the most interesting pieces of property, he's looking at properties around Niagara Falls that should be reused. He's saying better known as the dump, which is 2430 and 2530 Mewburn. And he said most recently floated that we, the city, are going to buy it for $1 million from the region. Some taxpayer, so same taxpayer, but not the same recipient. That's crazy. This deal is city takes control of the property for $1. Now we have to see this going two ways. I'm not sure. Basically, they encompass the dump, right? He's not entirely sure they do, but he's also then saying, ironically, for various maps, this is already labeled as Newburn Recreational Area and SCVFA Park. Now, the question here is, he's saying that basically what we should be doing with this land is actually doing some gas reclaiming from that, and actually getting the what's the gas that we get there?
Methane.
I was going to say morphine, but then realized methane gas. Yeah, recover the methane gas from the dump. He was saying that basically the city could make money if it did that.
Yeah, that's. I think he's getting ahead of himself here, though. Like, first of all, we buy the dump. I think that's a good idea. Really. That's a good idea. It can't be used for development or anything because it's land that's settling. Yeah. So that's I think that's a pretty good idea. To tap it for methane, where is it going to go? Are there any gas lines that it can be incorporated into? That's the other thing. Like if you can tap it for methane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How much methane are you going to get? Because this was a time when all the organic garbage went into that dump. We didn't have separation of garbage. So all the organic stuff went into that dump. So yeah, you have a potential of a fair amount of methane, but you still have to have a means of extracting that methane. And where's that methane going to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you have like in Walker's dump, which is huge, right? They can get their methane and mix it with the natural gas that goes off to gas generator turbines like the one at Thorold there. So it can be mixed with natural gas and used that way. What can we use? How can we get the methane out of there? Is it worth getting it out of there? And who's going to put up the money to draw the methane out of there? And where's that methane going to be used? Yeah, if you can put a little gas generator there, yeah, that would be nice. You could use something to heat a boiler or something, but how much BTU are you going to get out of whatever methane you could tap there? So that's something you could explore. That's something you could explore. But like as we said before, it's not really that good for any kind of development because it's ground that is shifting. Yeah, and it won't settle down for many years.
One of the things that Mike is saying here is that they've been dumping contaminated soil there for the last 10 years from all around the Niagara region, capping the mountain with contaminated soil from Welland Street to St. Catharines.
Wow. See, that's not too good either. So if you start tapping the methane, what else are you going to release?
Yeah, okay. And that's a fair question. So kind of wanted to get that one in because I saw this Frank DeLuca post and I thought we have to come back on that particular item. All right.
Yeah, there's some question too about the land that's underneath New Bern Road.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see why that's an issue at all, though. That's just private land on one side of the New Bern Road and the dumps on the other side. So I don't understand what that issue is about.
I don't know. I'm not sure there's really an issue, except as Mike has told us, contamination spreads, doesn't it?
Well, it does. It might be wise if we're going to buy it. We might want to do a toxicity test there to see if anyone's going to be exposed. I mean, it could be capped enough where it's not that much of a danger, as in they tell us Gale Center is not supposed to be. You can't live there, but you can hang out there for a few hours here now and then and not have problems. But if you moved in there to live, you might have an issue.
Yeah.
Right now they just let it go into the air. Well, what is going into the air?
The methane.
Methane. Is it gassing off or is it trapped? That's my issue here. Like, is it trapped? Is the methane trapped or is it gassing off? Now, obviously, some of it would work its way to the surface because of the pressure would build up, but it would sort of be saturated in the dirt. You have to push in wells, I think. You have to put pipes in and store like that to be able to capture it, give it a flow area for the methane to flow. So you could utilize it. Now, the methane could just leak into the air. The amount that's leaking there won't hurt anybody, I don't think. But if you really want to utilize it, I mean, there would be a stack of methane in there because it's been organic garbage dumped there year after year. So it's a potential of methane. So some study would have to be used. And who's going to put up the money for it? That's the other thing.
Problem here is that nobody seems to be wanting to do studies, right? Because studies cost millions of dollars.
Well, I don't think you could you bring your experts in from Walkers and they could probably tell you pretty quick what your potentials are because they've already done it.
Yeah. Well, and again, why don't they take Mike? Why don't they give Mike a salary?
Well, something right. We can't employ Mike because something right might happen.
Yeah,
something sensible might happen.
Off-gassing always happens and finds its way out. It's the largest heel problems we get stuck from. Yeah. So basically, the gassing, unless they put piping in there, unless they trap the gas, take measures to trap the gas, which they can do easily at Walkers. It's going to happen anyway, is what he's saying. Yeah.
Well, it's going to off gas, and the ground is going to settle. It's going to continue to settle for a while because it's got organic components. But the problem here is, the organics in there are not breaking down very rapidly. They've discovered banana peels in dumps that are 20 years old and still are yellow. They haven't even got to brown yet. So when everything is covered with dirt and there's not a whole lot of oxygen combined with it, the amount of decomposition is a very, very slow thing. Now, there might be lots and lots of decomposing things in there, but we might not get a whole lot of off-gassing. It's like if it was left open, if all your organic garbage was left open, it would off-gas right away. It would decompose right away within a couple of months. But the stuff that is covered up, off-gases could be very, very minor and slow coming off of it. That would have to be tested, of course.
Yeah.
but there is a potential there. I mean, there was organic garbage dumped there for many years, so yeah, you could use it. Like, the fact of the matter is, you can't. Methane is a much more severe greenhouse gas than the carbon dioxide. The blessing with methane is it breaks down very fast.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't stay methane very long in the atmosphere, whereas carbon dioxide stays for a long time.
The other question is liquid flow off, like water flow off, which if there's any poisonous liquid that will also is in the rivers and systems, but that's been there for years anyway. All right.
I don't know how much of a study has happened there. I mean,
yeah, I know Mike looks at that sort of thing. I know. Right. Okay. So anything else on that one?
Not much. Yeah, it could. The very idea that you could get some useful methane gas out of there might be something. But right now, all I see is that joining the rest of Fireman's Park in a bigger park for the people to enjoy.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
But if there is potential for toxicity there, it should be tested.
It should be, and it should be dealt with. What we don't want is kids fainting.
No, right now it's not a restricted area, so maybe it should be assured that the amount of toxicity is not going to be a problem for the
we don't want lethal. Yeah, we don't want it lethal. Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, moving on. The World Cup and bookings. The American Hotel and Lodging Association has basically been saying that the World Cup is kind of bookings on the World Cup have fallen way short of where they are with most World Cups by now. All right. Many bookings are already completely fully booked for at least the first 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, where the group tournament goes on.
Now, it doesn't say much about the Mexican bookings there, does it?
No, it's talking about US and US and Canada. We don't know about the Mexican ones. US and Canada, there's 2 separate articles. One, how bad US is. One about Toronto hotel bookings haven't surged for the World Cup as they were expected to, and but tourism groups are still hoping for an economic boost.
Yes, the problem here is politics, right? And I think probably the Mexican bookings is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, that's my guess. I didn't look into this, but it's the US and Canadian ones that are a problem. And I would think mostly the US ones.
Yeah.
There is problems, of course, politically. People don't know if they're going to come in there, they're going to get grabbed by ICE, what kind of visas that are going to be good. They know that the American immigration system is really funny right now. They can grab you just for any reason, just on the suspicion. They're not very organized. They don't know what the paperwork they're looking at a lot of times. So as precautions, they just grab people and incarcerate them. So that's part of the issue. The other, with Canada, the issue is the massive cost, the incredible cost of coming, getting a hotel room and going to the game. That is an enormous amount of money. And a lot of countries need visas to come to Canada too. I think
the visa situation. Yeah, the visa situation, of course, is one that's important. You have to get an ESTA, which is an electronic system, an electronic visa before you go to the US. You must have a passport that's valid for at least 6 months before you enter the US.
That's common practice everywhere, though.
Yeah,
that one's common practice just about everywhere.
Yeah, but Americans are bigger on that than they are. If you're 6 months and a day, they're probably going to not let you in, right? that type
Well,
of thing.
yeah.
They're very tough on that.
Well, all the Southeast Asian countries are like that. You don't go bother there if your passport's going to run out. If it's going to get sick as soon as it gets to the point where it's 6 months. Don't try to cross the border. Say if you're in Vietnam and you only got 6 months left on your passport, don't try to travel with it. You're not going to be let in.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, Canada. If you need to get an electronic travel authorization (ETA), and you has also given multi-entry visas for the World Cup. So for people who are moving across the border, they can do that more easily. For Mexico, a valid passport is required, and visitors issued tourist permit using their FMT. If you hold multiple entry US, UK, Schengen visas, you can enter Mexico without a separate Mexican visa. That's an interesting one. So Mexico's a lot freer on entry.
Well, they have a lot less worry about people staying because
I know
they're not the country people go to Mexico so they can sneak into the United States. But I mean, aside from that, people don't come to Mexico to escape, political persecution or economic persecution or be an economic refugee because Mexico is still a developing country.
Yeah.
People want to come into the US or Canada. So that Mexico doesn't have to worry as much as everyone else does about people coming into the country and staying after FIFA.
Yeah. Okay.
But FIFA's put out it's soccer. It's the world's greatest sports event by far. It's like we think of the Super Bowl as being huge, but the World Cup is many Super Bowls. Many Super Bowls.
Yeah, the World Cup final is exactly many Super Bowls of world TV. It's like billions of people are watching it worldwide.
The only thing that beats it is the Olympics.
But even the Olympics,
things like the Super Bowl are big in North America, but worldwide they get some attention, but not a whole lot. But soccer is probably the only worldwide sport.
Well, actually, the Olympics have been fading. No, the
possibly, but that's it's usually because of the expense of it and the I don't know. I'm still fascinated by the Olympics, but as a single sport, soccer is the only worldwide sport.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not my favorite. I like rugby better than soccer. I like lacrosse better than soccer. I like hockey better than soccer. But I'm a North American.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And of course, you like the American game or the Canadian game more than you probably do soccer as well, because you're North American.
Football? Yeah, I like Canadian football. Well, football. I like playing it. I don't like watching it very much. I like. I've gone to see the Hamilton Ticats a couple times play, so that's I like that. I like the live stuff. I'm not big on watching it on TV. I haven't even watched any of the playoff games on hockey, but I have gone to see lacrosse games. I was going on the senior A's and the junior B athletics right there at the Brock Athletic Center there. You can get a really good game of lacrosse. I was there on Saturday night watching the junior Bs play lacrosse. You want some sports entertainment? Go there. For a senior like me, it only costs $5 to get in. You buy a 50-50 ticket and a beer, and you're helping you're supporting the local team. And they give you a damn good brand of lacrosse, those young fellas. I'm telling you. I went Saturday night. It was a great game. Of course, they're young guys and they can't keep their ass out of the penalty box, but that goes with testosterone.
Okay. All right. So thousands of community and social workers are on strike right now across Ontario.
Have they gone on strike, or are they going on strike?
Going on strike.
Okay, because well, I know as of tomorrow, I'll just break away from this story just a bit. The Niagara Parks employees are going doing a strike vote on Thursday, and they may walk off the job on Thursday. I think I don't know if we talked about. I think we did. Maybe we talked about. I remember reading a few times. I don't know what reported on that, but that's going to be an issue here, and it could affect the local economy if they don't get their act together. But in any case, this one with the social workers, I don't know. I remember reading about it and posting the article, but I don't know if they've actually walked off the job yet. Have they?
I'm just trying to look that up. I think they're due any day. No, they're the headline says thousands of community and social workers are on strike across
Yeah,
Ontario.
that's right. Yeah.
Right. And that's why I said on strike, and I get why you were questioning that, right? Because normally we get notice of this, that because of the system, a strike system around here, you have to have a strike ballot. Then that normally gives about 3 weeks notice of the actual strike.
So what do Ontario community and social workers do? This is what they do. They help individuals, families, and groups overcome personal and social challenges, improve their social functioning, and access essential services. They address complex issues such as poverty, mental health, domestic violence, housing, and addiction through counseling, case management, and community advocacy. Core responsibilities: counseling and psychotherapy. Provide direct mental health support, crisis intervention, and psychotherapy to help clients cope with stress and trauma. Case management: assess a client's needs, develop actionable care plans. Systematic advocacy: work to reduce systematic barriers related to racism, poverty, inequality, while promoting community inclusion. Well, I don't know if that's so big of a deal. But anyway, where do they work? Hospitals, mental health clinics, child welfare and family services agents, school boards, shelter groups, and professional regulations. In Ontario, these groups are regulated by the Ontario College of Social Workers. And anyway, so there's two, I think it's broken into two phases where they're in the field and in the office type of workers. But those are the people who are on strike.
Yeah. And they're looking, it doesn't actually tell me the why they're on strike, but I'm gathering that it is actually pay related.
Yes, underfunding too, general underfunding. We find, I don't think this is going to change much. Aside from this, Canada is becoming poorer. Like, we don't really notice it, but slowly but surely, Canada is becoming a poorer nation than it was when I was young. Let's say 50 years ago, it's a much poorer nation than it was comparatively than it is today. So Canada's productivity and everything is making the country a little bit poorer every year. Not that we're going to go, but that means there's going to be less revenue available from taxes. There's going to be less revenue available for social workers and things of this kind. When you think of social workers of this level, you think it as a wonderful thing. You have expertise that are paid to help out the marginal and vulnerable in a community. But when the government and the taxes and our debt increase, certain things are going to go away. And things like this are the ones that are going to go away because they do not produce money. They may save a percentage of the people they deal with and help them have a better life, but if it costs too much,
you're right that they don't. You're right that they don't create money in the way that many workers do. But one of the big questions, of course, about that is that they save other people who create money.
Yeah, I was prepared for you to say that too, because that's always the answer to stuff like this.
Yeah.
However,
I was going to say that was
when you put up the balance sheet, how much do they cost? How much are they saving people to being benefactors of the community?
Yeah.
When it comes right down to it, if you don't have money and the government doesn't have money, different things have to disappear or be reduced. Now, these people are on strike, but I don't know how, like what I see going forward is less and less of people like this being hired.
Yeah.
Per capita. Like if we need 200, we'll have 150. If 20 years ago we had one client for every 1,000 or one social worker for every 1,000, we'll have one social worker for every 2,000 by now. It's just the way it goes. The government doesn't have as much money as it does. When you go to developing countries, you don't see these programs going on anywhere. You have some volunteer organizations helping out, but you don't have it as part of the government because they don't have the money or the means. Yeah. And in the situation we have now is where all of our governments are hugely in debt, and our productivity is being reduced. So how much money is going to be available for social work going forward?
Yeah.
As much as it's needed, it might not be there.
Yeah. And one of the key factors here, of course, is even though it was later ruled unconstitutional, Bill 124 capped public sector wage increases to 1% overall for Ontario, which basically really set the standard for most people who were, most workers, unless it was specifically negotiated. And that, of course, is probably what's one of the key factors to being on strike. And with increased cost of living today, which cannot be denied, it was 179.9 when I came in through Lake Street today. So the price of gas is at that 180 level and above sometimes.
Oh yes, well, the man who will not be mentioned by name, Weare, BB's Weare that somebody, the fellow down south, kind of got sucked into. He can't get out of it. He's yo-yoing the stock market, saying, okay, we're got a deal, and all of a sudden there's a big flash going on in the stock market. Then he says, when oil prices go down, all his buddies buy oil, and then all of a sudden the deal's not going through and the oil prices go back up and all his buddies make money. And he's yo-yoing the market. And plus, I don't think he's going to find an easy way out of that. So we're going to look at high gas prices for some time to come because they haven't solved that. And it doesn't seem to be easily solvable. They've got Witkoff and Kushner being the chief negotiators, and they know nothing about Iran. I've heard reports where it's very frustrating. The Iranians come prepared with their experts and stuff like that, but Kushner and Witkoff have to have people tell them what the nuclear process is all about, because they don't know. When they say, well, you can't have this, you can't have that, and they'll say, well, we'll need some for our nuclear reactors. The first ones in Iran, built by the U.S., by the way, nuclear reactors were built by the U.S. in Iran in the 50s. So they still need fissile material for that. So what the Americans are saying is you can't make any of your own. You got to get it from somewhere else. But they're saying we already have the capability of making our own fissile material. But Kushner and Witkoff don't understand the technical aspects of this and can't negotiate because they don't. They're unrealistic demands because they don't know what they're talking about. So we're going to have high gas prices for some time. Unfortunately, it's going to ruin a lot of people's vacations or shorten them.
Yeah.
You want to get your kids and your family. You want to get it out.
Well, this is
going to pay huge gas prices. Thank you very
and
much.
This, of course, is affecting the whole. The oil crisis is affecting everything, and that, of course, is one of the reasons why ticket sales to North America on airlines are down because because there's been reviews by Canadian Air Canada and other airlines about the routes. They've been cutting routes, so we are. I'm not surprised that right now the World Cup's not going to be that well visited.
Well, yeah, the airline prices will probably spike very high.
Yeah. If they haven't already, at the end of the day.
So yeah, so it's going to be a while before that changes. That spike, the huge spike in gas prices because of the war. Gasoline prices, that's not going to change anytime soon, it seems.
Yeah.
It could. All they have to do is get their ships out of there and let the strait open up and let things go back to where it was. They don't even have to go negotiate with the Iranians. They just, they can claim victory because they smashed them to pieces. But it's Bibi. Bibi wants more. Bibi wants a destabilized state. And he doesn't want he wants a piece of southern Lebanon to add to Israel. And so that's why he won't stop there.
Yeah.
The best way to stop him is stop giving him bombs to bomb southern Lebanon, and then maybe it can stop.
Okay, moving on. Since we're way off topic now, so moving on. Polyev names a new chief of staff. Stephen Outhouse will take on the role of chief of staff after Ian Todd announced his retirement as from that job.
I know very little about this. I read the article. It didn't mean much to me because I don't know the inner politics of the Conservative Party or the Liberal Party or NDP. So I don't know where Outhouse fits in all this. What do you know about Outhouse?
I was just putting it. No, I don't know anything about Outhouse. I'm like you. I don't know too much about the inner workings of the Conservative Party. The one person I do know who knows the inner workings of the Conservative Party recently left. So I didn't get an opportunity to actually ask him about it. But he actually knew Ian Todd for a long time. And I know because he was talking about Ian Todd a few weeks ago before this retirement occurred. So, so I don't know too much about it. It's just something it's a piece of news that I thought, okay, we should be at least discussing this, at least so that people would know that there's changes in the Conservative Party right now.
Yeah, I posted the article, I think, because, I thought it's somebody out there and among our viewers might know a little bit something about it. Now, Todd, I've known I think he's been around for a long time. I think now this is the reason why I read it at first. I thought, is this another runaway from the Conservative type of thing? But no, Todd's just retiring. He's been at it for long enough. So it's not one of those things.
Chief of staff. Yeah, he's been chief of staff for all of Polyev's tenure, but I believe he was chief of staff also for at least 10 years.
Okay, so yeah, he did a pretty good job, I think, overall. I mean, if I try to dig into my data bank here, I heard good things about his organizational abilities and so on and so forth. I think his time is done. I don't think he's leaving the party because he thinks it's a waste of time. I think he's just old and wants to retire.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Absolutely. And I think that's all there is to it. There's nothing I think you can take as being party politics in this. It's just we've come to the point when he's saying that's the end of my career, guys. I'm done. Right?
Yeah, or I want to do something else. Maybe
I wish you well for the future. Right? And he's been chief of staff for the Conservative Party for quite some time. That's what I did read about it. Right. So
Yeah.
I wish him well. I wish him well in his retirement. And clearly, in that regard, the new chief of staff, Steve Outhouse, has got big shoes to fill.
Yes, but I think Outhouse, by the looks of the article, he'll be all right. So basically, the Conservative Party is marching along, and it's not. They're reporting a change in management in a way, but nothing much drastic has happened.
Yeah.
So this is not a run away from the Conservative Party. It's not across the floor type of thing. It's just a change.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
It's just a change of brass. That's all.
Yeah. One other thing is that Tim Hortons has made a statement that he's going to be hiring more local workers than before, especially with the ban on temporary foreign workers. So that ban has changed things because company reportedly employed about 4,000 temporary foreign workers, and that they're basically going to be replacing those with local hiring and looking to hire youth.
Well, yeah, it's a great job for kids, especially on the weekend or after school. They can make some loot. The temporary foreign workers just fell right into their lap, although they needed the working stuff. But once the temporary workers come in, they get away with paying a lot less. Yeah. And I don't know if it was so good for the country, but now we had all these temporary workers that don't really want to go home after they've done the job. They want to go. They don't want to come. They don't want to go home, right? Once they're in the country. So that's always been a bit of a problem because there's thousands upon thousands of people in the country that shouldn't be in the country. And
but if we're honest about okay, so one of the things that they're basically saying is Tim Hortons, and part of the reason they went to temporary foreign workers is they've had a high turnover of staff, and their shift work is very demanding because obviously many Tim Hortons stores are open 24/7. And those lower wages compared to other sectors, and these fell really right into the need of the temporary foreign workers, because when you've got that combination, many of the temporary foreign workers are happy to work whatever shifts they can do and don't really care about whether their work is legal or not.
Well, sorry. A Canadian iconic business like Tim Hortons using foreign workers. Well, come on. Let's get serious, right? You've got all these students. You've got a lot of people trying to get started up, and you're using foreign workers. You're using foreign workers when you don't need to.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is affecting Tim Hortons' reputation. And people aren't going to Tim Hortons anymore because they have this. I don't know. I was telling somebody a story the other day. I was at the Tim Hortons, and they're all full of South Asians, right? Just about every one of them. And so there's one on Thorstone Road, and it's all staffed by South Asians. And my friend was an older lady with a very thick Dutch accent, and she was talking to somebody with a thick South Asian accent, and I had to be the translator between the two of them.
Yeah.
So my friend is trying to order with her thick accent. It's being misinterpreted by the lady with the thick South Asian accent, and she thinks she's talking about, and they're talking, each one thinking they know what the other one's saying, and I have to interfere and tell them, no, she means this and she means that. The lady behind the counter asked you this. This lady is asking for that. So I have to be the translator. Everybody's speaking English, but I'm the only one that knows what those two are speaking. They can't talk to each other, right?
You've got an ear for one accent and the other accent.
Yeah, so I could interpret,
Yeah. Well, and of course, if you've got a person who's taking an order for somewhere like him, it's crucial you get it right, because I want I want an everything bagel with cream cheese. Oh, that's a bagel with bacon bagel.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
Same
the
thing, aren't they?
problem, one of the problems I had there was she was asking for egg McMuffin in a Tim Hortons. Well, that was part of the problem, you know.
Yeah.
With a heavy Dutch accent. So
yeah. That's a big problem as well, because of course Timmy's won't sell you an egg McMuffin, will they?
yeah, and the lady
probably,
on the other side of the counter didn't even know what one was.
yeah, and
So she was
of
like
course they probably have a meal that's very much the same as an egg McMuffin, but you know.
Yeah, they do, and that's what that was the whole thing. I had to kind of make sure that my friend and the person across the counter could make that translation, you know.
Yeah.
Of course, the lady behind the counter thought she wanted something completely different.
Yeah.
And
well, and you would know, and if you were working at that Tim's, you would instantly know, oh, you mean one of these. And
well,
you might kind of go, oh yeah, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm not at max right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the lady behind the counter was going to give her something completely unrelated to anything that was remotely like an egg McMuffin. So I had to make the translations. Anyway, aside from that, we're at the end of our day here. I like to bring up Gaza like I always do. That's a nightmare. It still is. There is wasting going on. Children not getting enough food. Children not getting enough medicine. And we're talking about children. There are innocent people, all kinds of them. Remember, Gaza was about 60% children when it was all started. I think 60% or 62 or 3% of the population was 14 and under, or 18 and under, I mean. And over 50% was like 14 and under or something like that. So you can imagine the catastrophe they have now. 80% of the buildings are wiped out, completely wiped out. There might be a few shacks holding up here and there. They're forced into a smaller and smaller area. The Israelis will not let not one foreign journalist in there. They don't want anybody to see what's going on. They still bomb the hell out of them. They're bombing up in southern Lebanon and taking bulldozers and knocking people's houses down. That's what they do. They bring in. They're going to make sure that you don't have a reason to come back to your home. So they're going to knock it down and destroy everything you have. So destroying villages, and these are sometimes Christian villages, sometimes Sunni villages, sometimes Shia villages. It doesn't matter to them. They've knocked down Christian villages. They knocked down churches. They smashed Jesus statues with sledgehammers. They're out of control. They're really, really out of control.
Yeah.
And they have to be stopped. Like their democracy, those people are being sucked into an ideology. The Israelis are being sucked into an ideology that, I mean, both sides of that issue hate each other, and they have all this propaganda against each other, and say that each side should be eliminated. Now, this has all got to stop, and we got to step in there because they're out of control. They don't know what they're doing.
Well, this is ironically where we need an international force to go in there and put an end to this.
Well, the Israelis have been, there was at one time a UN force.
There was, yeah.
And the Israelis were able to get rid of it. They didn't want any outside governing body. They don't want to, they have a nuclear weapon, but they don't want nuclear people recognizing that they do, because the U.S. cannot give them arms if they officially recognize the fact that they have a nuclear bomb, and yet they won't allow inspectors in or anything else like that. So they get away with everything because the U.S. lets them have it, and we see the extreme power of AIPAC. You see what they did to Thomas Massey. Mm-hmm. The big on both sides. Hakeem Jeffries takes huge amounts of money from maybe not huge amounts of money, but knows he has to take some in order to get his status up there so that the AIPAC won't campaign against him. So the Democrats and Republicans all have the same problem. they show fealty to the Israeli lobby. Donald Trump shows fealty to the Israeli lobby, and he got sucked into this war. And he has to check with Bibi Netanyahu if he could stop the war, because Bibi's allies in the United States, like Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham and all the others, won't let him stop the war. And that's because they have more loyalty to Israel than they have to the United States, which is a sad state of affairs. So that's got to stop, basically. I mean, we can stop a lot of the problems in the Middle East if we can get Israel to act more like a Western nation.
Mm-hmm. All right. And Dave?
Without further ado, I bid you adieu. Pray for peace.
And have a great day.